One of my most anticipated shows of the fall 2024 anime season was NegaPosi Angler, a series that had literally no fanfare to it, very little advertisement that I seen. All we had was a synopsis and a PV to go based off of. There's no source material to go based off of, but the PV itself showed a lot of promise. And now, while after watching the first episode, I'm not ready to shout from the rooftop for everybody to go watch the show, this is the hidden gem of the season, I still have promise in here. There's still a lot of signs in here that this could be a really good series. And that's mainly just how well it does at sort of showing a lot of contrast, showing what the characters are going through, a little bit of symbolisms and whatnot that's in there. And I'm ready to kind of jump into the series and give my thoughts on it. But essentially, it opens up with a guy named Tsunehiro, and this guy is at his worst. He is literally at his worst. He's alone in an apartment. He's got tons of letters in his mailbox, one saying that he's about to get evicted. He has massive amount of debt, and he's at the end of his rope. Literally, he's actually attempting to end his own life. It sort of shows a little contrast in this opening sequence because you have a lady walking by the apartment and she's got a child with her and everybody's happy outside the house, and then inside the house, he literally has a noose. Well, when he fails once again, he realizes, oh yeah, that's right, I have an appointment at the hospital. In which he goes there and come to find out that he only has 2 years left to live. Yes, he has a tumor and he has to seek treatment for it, whatnot, but either way, this is it. He's got an expiration tag now, and that's just kind of kicked him when he's down. But he still kind of tries to keep his chin up in the idea of, well, I'll just enjoy what little time I have left. But unfortunately, debt collectors aren't going to allow him to enjoy that little bit of time that he has left. They're chasing him down, trying to get him to pay back the money that he owes them. And this all leads to the point where he slips off of a bridge and falls in the water. Well, when he regains consciousness, he comes to find a group of people who do fishing as a hobby. And they fished him out of the water, and they have him currently rescued, but unfortunately, he can't go home yet. They're currently on a break out in the middle of the ocean, and he has to wait until the next morning to take him on the boat back. And this sort of forces Tsunehiro to kind of sit there bored, waiting for them to be done, and at the same time, they're trying to rope him into trying out fishing. The entire time, he's like, no, I don't want to fish with you guys. What's the fun in that? Why are you guys doing this? It doesn't look that fun. But eventually, he does accept it and start to try it out, and he catches a fish. And still, even then, he's questioning, was that fun? I don't really think that was fun. There is a point where he starts to see himself as the lure itself. Hana, the person that actually fished him out of the water, kind of explains the idea that the fish themselves are essentially living a catch or be caught type of life. And he starts to see himself as the lure, wanting to survive, wanting to live, and trying to escape from his impending doom. He nearly catches a really big fish, and then suddenly a massive school of fish show up. He didn't really catch anything else before they go back to the mainland. He finds out they all work at the same shop before they take him back home to find that his house has been demolished. His apartment's gone. He has nowhere to live. And that's pretty much where they wrap up the first episode. My thoughts on the series before, like I said, I had a lot of excitement coming into the series. It looks like, again, essentially the contrast of somebody being at their worst, suddenly finding a new leaf in life. Now, thankfully, it doesn't really try to jump at the idea of suddenly everything's fixed within the first episode, even though it does feel like he's sort of being swept up by the positivity of everybody. Why are you guys enjoying this fishing? What's the point of it? They even get into great details in the idea that this is a hobby that costs a lot of money and a lot of time, and yet they still find some sort of enjoyment out of it. Each one of them has their own reason for fishing. Some of them find it fun to catch things. Some of them just find it relaxing to kind of sit out there and do that. Everybody has their own reason for fishing, and they're not really kind of providing Tsunehiro with that fix of like, well, here you go, you caught a fish, suddenly everything's right, okay. I do have a lot of respect for that, but at the same time, I do acknowledge that a series like this, where it's going to sit a little bit in that negativity, is probably going to be harsh and difficult for a lot of people to stomach. Me personally, yes, I do find that something like this can sort of be therapeutic in the idea of seeing somebody, at their worst, but still kind of working their way out of it. And that's kind of what I got a sense from the PV. This concept here is, again, somebody that has a limited time left, and that limited time left that he has is marred by the fact that nobody will leave him alone. His own fault, by the way. He even at some point mentioned the idea that I'm going to go and take more massive debt because I don't have to pay it off. I'm going to be gone in 2 years. So it's like his own doing, but at the same time, you do sort of feel for him a lot in the idea that he's just trying to find something positive in his life, and unfortunately, nothing's going to allow him to do that. It sort of gave an indication that he was somebody that felt like he was going to be in the upper crust. Possibly his parents were well off or whatever, and maybe he thought that that was going to be a route to something good. Maybe he had a good job or something like that, or a good schooling that was going to allow him to be in the upper echelons of society or whatever. And again, he took out a lot of debt. He kept taking debt in order to pay off the debt, and eventually it got too much that he couldn't handle, and he felt like, this is it. I'm done. There's no point in moving forward. I might as well end it now. And that's, again, very unfortunate thing, just to pile on this idea of not living much longer. Now, I am kind of questioning what they're going to do with the illness itself. It looks like a tumor of some sort, and typically something like that is not really curable. There's treatments to sometimes shrink it and sometimes hopefully make it go away, but it's not a fix-all. The doctor does mention the idea of, you got to seek treatment or whatever, you're going to end in 2 years. But what kind of fix is that? That's the question mark there. And that's really the question mark that I had coming in this series, is what kind of a route they're going to go. If it's going to go the route of he finds a fix, if it's just going to be a message about enjoying the current time. I do have a theory that there's a possibility that everybody in this group is dealing with the same thing. They all have some sort of illness or whatnot. And maybe possibly when he ever does bring up what he's dealing with, they might actually say, yeah, Hana is not much time either, and she's trying to enjoy what time she has. The PV had a very good message in it that did technically draw me into wanting to watch this. And the message is everybody has a finite amount of time. We're all going to have a day that we all pass away. Is it going to be tomorrow? Is it going to be 2 years from now? He just, again, has a bracket given to him by a doctor. Is that bracket even true? Some people get diagnoses and they live much longer in that time period. The doctors don't really 100% know either. But the whole point in that PV and that message was the idea of enjoy the now. Yes, Tsunehiro's current point is like, I have no future. It's done. Might as well mess up now. Might as well take in more debt. Enjoy it as I'm going to now. But unfortunately, he's not finding that joy. Things are kind of boring down upon him. But I'm curious to see which actual direction it takes it. And again, I am very much so enjoying how it's sort of contrasting a lot of what he's going through. Again, like I said, the opening sequence was great. This idea of the family walking by the house and he's inside and he's done. And it's just super tragic in that contrast. And again, technically getting that second blow from the doctor. Additionally, like I said, the whole situation with the lure itself, seeing himself as a lure, wanting to live. Yes, he's sort of portraying that as the fish. The fish wants to live, and he's trying to tell the fish, okay, act like you're alive in order to fool the other fish in order to catch it. But in actuality, what he's doing there is sort of seeing himself in it. The idea that he does want to live. And he's trying to tell this fish himself, live on, run, escape from what you're dealing with. Escape from the debt collectors, escape from death itself. He still wants to live somewhere in there. But I like the fact that, again, it's not a fix-all. He doesn't catch a fish and suddenly everything is good. Everybody's out laughing, he's enjoying it, and suddenly life is great. No, he gets another kick in the idea that his house is now gone. And I think that's what's going to actually happen over time, is just having the individuals just be around him, being in the company of others, and finding a new route in life, finding enjoyment in life, finding a new path. There's a great point in which Hana basically tells him, here, try this. And he's like, I'm not going to enjoy it. This doesn't look fun. How do you know it's not fun until you try it? Like, at least just try it, see if it's something you enjoy. I think he's going to find that. How he finds that's the question mark, again, because everybody that's there has their own reason for wanting to fish. Everybody there is finding their own enjoyment. Now, I will admit, I'm not a fishing fan. I've fished before. I enjoyed the time that I did, but it was more in the idea of just enjoying it because of the camaraderie of it. Being with other people and just being out in the middle of nowhere and fishing. I don't care about the actual act of fishing. So I do question how much they will get into with the fishing. There's a little bit of explanations here and there, but I think it's just more for him. It didn't get bogged down by it at any point. Visually, it looks solid. There's a couple character designs that I'm not a huge fan of because they kind of look jarring to the overall style. Like, yes, the Gyaru lady and this random balding guy. They don't really fit the aesthetic and the style of the rest of the show, which is kind of a bummer. But overall, it does look good. The chemistry and everything, I'm mixed on. I actually got more of a kick out of the actual debt collectors early on than really anything else. Because like these debt collectors show up and they look like they're kind of nice. Like they first find him at the pachinko machines and like, hey, you have to pay your money. And he's like, crap, they actually exist. These loan sharks exist. And he goes to run away and he actually jackpotted. And they're like, hey, Tsunehiro, you actually, oh, he ran away. Like, it's like they wanted to tell him about it, but he ran off. And then later on, when they catch him later on, they're just like trying to keep him from falling off the bridge. Like they actually care about him. Of course, there's an aspect there that if he hurts himself, he can't pay off his debt. But still, they didn't seem mean. So it's like, I kind of feel like they're going to actually make them out to be really cool people. But I'm assuming they're going to be a regular, constantly showing up and trying to chase him down to get their money from him. But either way, I actually like them. But yeah, everybody else, I'm sort of mixed on. Hana is cute. She's a kind of a positive person in the nature of the fact that she's just trying to reach out to him, give him something to try out. and yes, gets a little bit offended on the idea of somebody kind of discounting what she enjoys. Takaki is just kind of an airheaded, good-natured guy. He's just trying to do his best in order to, make him feel kind of welcome in the situation. Everybody else we really haven't gotten into, but I'm sure over time we will. But so far it's a decent cast. I think most of the focus in this episode is really on Tsunehiro and introducing him and what he's struggling with. So I don't really expect too much in the first episode for everybody else, but we'll see. Overall, solid first episode. We'll see where it goes from here. Again, I'm not ready to tell people, please go out and watch this. This is the hidden gem of the season. It has everything here to do that. And again, I think it's because it's not trying to rush his fix, if he even gets fixed. Not saying that fishing will make you happy now. It's just taking its time. It's doing a good job of kind of contrasting what he's going through. It's never too heavy. I think the first opening sequence might be a little disturbing to some people. The idea of him literally putting it around his neck and then slipping off of a table and then falling, that might be a little disturbing to people, but I don't think that it's keeping too into that stuff. But I think if people are in like a really dark place right now, it might be difficult for you to watch. But overall, it's kind of keeping itself sort of like in that depressed state, but kind of nudging it up and keeping it from being too heavy. But that's just my feelings. It's always different for everybody. But yeah, just watch it at your own risk. I think some people can find this kind of stuff therapeutic. So, each their own. But yeah, solid first episode. Hope you guys enjoyed my impressions. If you did, make sure to hit that like button down below. Comment. Let me know what you think of the series if you're going to be checking it out. Additionally, if you're new here, make sure to subscribe before you leave so you can get all my content. I'm doing first impressions of all the shows this season. Additionally, if you like this content and you want to support the channel more, I have links in the description below. Greatly appreciate if it does. Until next time, y'all take care.